Hi, this is Naroki5. I am going to be doing this until I die or I find something better to do. So please help me achieve this personal and, I think, noble objective by contributing to my Patreon or Subscribestar. Link is down below. Every little bit helps. Thank you very much. I seriously cannot believe I'm having to do this, but I mean, I've noticed this trend, and it has just been in the last few months. Now, I'm not going to name a specific number of dating coaches, or I mean, first of all, and this is primarily falling into the dating coach community, which is to be expected, because I mean, you know, that's the part of the manosphere where most of the grifting is taking place. And yeah, if you've been listening to Rollo Tomassi, and I mean, I kind of listen to him a little bit. I'm not a hardcore fanatic. Again, he puts a little too much stuff behind a paywall for my liking. But you listen to, like, Rollo Tomassi was like saying, like, I mean, the mainstreaming of the red pill is not, there's a yin and a yang to it. The yin, and I use it, some people will reverse that, but I'm not going to. The yin is, the skills and the knowledge that the manosphere, the red pill and the manosphere, I mean, have spread out, that it's reaching the point of, it's reaching a saturation point. It's reaching the point where, for instance, when I start running into random guys on the street and start talking to them, they've heard of Rollo Tomassi, they've heard of Andrew Tate, they've heard of Sandman, they've heard of Terrence Popp, they've heard of Fresh and Fit. They know about these guys. They know about the stuff that they're talking about, right? Not all of them, obviously, but I mean, it's reached the point now with the manosphere where the combined mode of the manosphere is at the point where the skills and the technology and the ability to work out an issue for a male is there if the male is able to get to, is willing to look. Here's the issue that I have noticed that has come up, and I can't really say that I'm surprised that this has happened, but at the same time, when I step back and I take a look at it, I'm like, it's sort of, oh, of course they would try and do this. What I'm talking about here are, and let me emphasize this is specifically coming from the dating coach side of it. There is the blue pill MGTOW is probably more akin to a black pill than anything, which is why the topic of this particular video is called the Blue Pill Manosphere, not just Blue Pill MGTOW. What I've been seeing is the rise of blue pill manosphere dating coaches, or guys attempting to grift, or maybe even potentially being artificially propped up. And I mean, artificially being propped up by people behind the scenes. And I mean, I would like to say that, you sound a little tinfoil hatty to me. It's like, I kind of hate to sound like a broken record here, but look at what's happening with Andrew Tate right now. It is very clear when you take the satellite view on what is going on with both Tate and Jordan Peterson as well, by the way, that there is somebody or a group of people behind the scenes. Because I mean, I've actually started listening to some of Tate's stuff. Tate did not just cover manosphere stuff, which is the reason why I suspect he's being targeted. Because I mean, he speaks truths not just in the area of relationships, but in the area of politics and other things. And he's got a rather unique take, which is why he did become the most searched man on the internet. That's not a coincidence. And he was talking, he wasn't just confining his discussions to, he wasn't just discussing dating in the manosphere. He was talking about other stuff. and he had some very intelligent takes. And I'm saying that as a guy who's not a fanboy of Andrew Tate in any form or fashion. What I am seeing, though, and Tate is not directly responsible for this, but at the same time, when you take a look at this and you see some of these guys jumping in, what you're seeing here is blue pill men attempting to enter the manosphere. Some of them are grifters. Again, some of them might just be artificially propped up. But you're seeing these guys, and this was totally expected. And Rollo Tomassi has, I don't think he's actually outright said that there were going to be grifters like this, but I mean, I was expecting this was going to come, and it was going to come first and foremost for the red pill dating coach community, because I mean, again, right, selling a blue pill MGTOW guy or a black pill MGTOW guy is going to get, knowing the kind of brusque, angry nature of a lot of MGTOW, a guy who's a blue pill MGTOW does not usually last very long. Unless they're really careful with their message. And I haven't seen any blue pill MGTOW, but I mean, I have seen a lot of blue pill dating coaches. And again, Rollo Tomassi has talked about this. I've heard him talk about this a few times. So how do you spot? Because I mean, these guys are not necessarily the easiest people to spot, because much like how, and I mean, I don't have to get into politics here, much like how the globalists, for instance, like to steep their concepts like 15-minute cities or the New Green Deal. They like to give their message this veneer of kindness and caring and legitimacy, and we just want what's best for everybody and that type of thing. But when you start to peel away the layers, like, you start to see that it's not about that. Like, I was watching a video today on Instagram where the people were like saying in Oxford that, no, we're not going to fine people for leaving their districts. But at the same time, right, like, the cameras that are being set up in Oxford, England, are being set up in certain areas. And yeah, you can cross into these areas or not, but if you cross into these areas and you are not permitted to be there, you will be fined. So they literally double talked. They used double speak. And even though they said that people weren't going to be fined for leaving an area. And this is kind of like how I've noticed enough of them now to kind of figure out how they operate. And I'm going to give you a few hints. I'm probably going to have to expand on this to a greater degree at some point, but I'm just going to give you the brush strokes here on just some commonalities to look for from the blue pill dating coaches that I have seen so far. Number one, they will acknowledge that there is a problem with masculinity. That will be their big chief selling point right out the gate. That's kind of like their hook. And then they offer the solution. And this is one of the big things to look out for with a blue pill manosphere guy. One of the big things you need to look for with a blue pill manosphere guy, in particular in the dating coach community, is the fact that these individuals will never admit any issues that the women are doing. The emphasis on fixing the problem, it will always be the man's fault. Another thing you need to look out for, and if you hear words like, say, equity or toxic masculinity, or you start hearing feminist catchphrases, and by the way, there is a contextual perspective that somebody in the manosphere will use using feminist catchwords and phrases versus somebody who's from the feminist community and uses these same words. You will hear them using these words in a context or in a manner that is not consistent with the manosphere. And again, that's probably too big of a topic for me to like sum it up here in just a few minutes. But yeah, they'll say something and it won't sound quite right. The issue, the problem will always be the male with the blue pill manosphere guys. Like you will not hear them admit that the woman is the problem. Another thing that they will do is that and I'm noticing this in particular in regards, the regular red pill dating coach guys have a kind of antagonistic attitude, but what I have noticed so far, there may be exceptions to this rule, but the blue pill manosphere guys that I have encountered so far bend over backwards to avoid mentioning MGTOW or anything associated with it. And I'm not talking about, like, say, what Jeremy Hambling or Tim Pool or Mission when he was doing YouTube content do, where they will talk around it. Like, they will avoid even kind of like mentioning anything that might be associated with MGTOW. Another thing that you might want to be on the lookout for is the fact that these blue pill dating coaches won't directly associate with the individuals that you see in the regular red pill dating coach community. In fact, they will, and again, there's an inherent competitiveness in males in the first place, which, by the way, and a tribalism, which, by the way, is a factor, one of the reasons why MGTOWs and the red pill dating coach community don't necessarily get along with each other. But yeah, this will come out, right? They not only will they not mention MGTOW stuff, but they will, if they mention anything from, say, Fresh and Fit or Kevin Samuels or Donovan Sharp or Rollo Tomassi or any of those other guys, it will be in a denigrating way. Or they will talk around, or they will avoid mentioning these guys. And by the way, these guys will also not generally associate with the greater manosphere. The reason why they won't associate with the greater manosphere is because, and this is the big reason why they avoid associating or bringing up MGTOW, is because, first of all, well, I can see maybe some of the guys in the red pill dating coach community being a little bit forgiving of this crowd. MGTOWs will absolutely eviscerate these guys if they're stupid enough to walk into a MGTOW crowd. Like, I'm not just talking about, because I just recently finally got around to finishing up the edit, and I'm going to be posting up soon the video in my response to a dating coach guy who I was going to go after with guns blazing until circumstances kind of like opened my eyes to the bigger reality of the situation. To the regular listener who ran into me on the street and listened to me talk about this and reminded me of that stuff, I want to thank you for bringing me back down to earth on that one. By the way, they will avoid going on shows like, say, they will avoid talking. They will, or in some cases, they will openly attack them. Also, when they do have guests, when you do a background check on these, just first of all, these are not the same people that you will see with a regular red pill dating coach guy. These are not individuals that you will, when you look at the guests that they might have on, like, you'll notice that the people that they do have on, the people that they quote, will have curiously strong feminist connections. Some of them will even be outright feminists. Okay, and that's the last thing you need to look out for. There are a couple of guys in the red pill dating coach community that might be willing to have a feminist on. Not that feminists would be willing to have a discussion, because a house of cards does not hold up to criticism very well. But I mean, yeah, if these if these blue pill manosphere guys, if they have feminists on as guests and they're not, in the context of it is not consistent with stuff in the manosphere, that's a huge red flag. You need to stop following. I mean, yeah, I get it. Sometimes maybe the guy you're listening to has some soothing words to say to you, or he says the right thing that you need to hear at the right time. And maybe he's done it a few times. The Good Men Project has produced some decent content over the years. They've actually come out with some decent articles over the years. That doesn't take away from the fact that they're a shill feminist front website. And this is what you're seeing with these guys. These guys are the Good Men Project, but for the red pill dating coach community. And that's the way you should be regarding them. Yes, these guys might occasionally, and some of these guys might even drop gems from time to time. But ultimately, that hook should never distract you from the fact that these guys are either shills or they're literally men that are they're the Good Men Project, you know. They're beta males, soy boys, blue pills, manginas, white knights, masquerading as something other than something that's being helpful to the manosphere. And anything that these guys have to say needs to be taken with a very strong dose of salt. And again, I'm going to say this again for you, just so it sinks in. Just because some of these guys might actually drop gems on a consistent basis. You know, some of these guys might actually be able to steep feminist dogma and blue pill dogma and make it sound really legit and really good. You got to really be paying attention when you're dealing with these people. Some of them are able to steep it in really quite well. But just remember, these are blue pill manosphere dating coaches. If these guys were the website, they would be the Good Men Project. This is the Good Men Project version of the dating coach community. And I don't want to sound tinfoil hatty, but this is not a surprise. Keep that in mind next time. You're going to see a lot more of this as you go along. This is Naroki5. Like, subscribe, and I will talk to you later.